So, how are you all feeling? Yeah? Today, I'm going to talk to you about feelings and why feelings are so crucial to understanding who it is that we really are. And what I'm going to explain is how important it is to be able to unlock the true value of the internet through feelings. So every day I get to work with an incredibly diverse group of people. Psychologists, big data scientists, computer scientists, all coming together to create a completely new understanding of the digital world. So what we're actually doing then is combining big data with psychology to create a completely new way of thinking about the digital ecosystem. We've got 250 million profiles in our database. It's probably the biggest of its kind in the world. But I'm the first to say we're just at the beginning of this work. This is a whole new area for you guys, and for some of you, you'll probably think, well, what on earth is this guy talking about? Well, just bear in mind that I'm not going to be talking to you about data. What I'm actually going to be talking to you about is the journey of our lives. It's a common phrase, one that's been around for thousands of years, but when you think about it, where is the map? My daughter recently had her 18th birthday, and I sat with her and we talked about the start of her journey. But what I wanted to do was show her the "you are here" marker. We've mapped myriads of journeys over the centuries. We've mapped so many parts of our world. We've even mapped other planets. But who can show me a map for the journey of life? All of this started with a vision that I had that we one day would be able to open up a completely different dimension of ourselves through images. And it started with a psychometric test. And what was different about it is that you had to click on images in order to understand who you are. And I started by just sending out a few emails to people. And within a few weeks, 1 million people had come. And a few weeks after that, 5 million. And then a few weeks after that, 10 million. And then 15 million. It kept going. The speed of it completely amazed us. But how are we going to turn this into a business? Well, amazingly, 8 years on, and picture sharing is completely exploding. There's an analyst called Mary Meeker, who's known as the queen of the internet, and she has actually predicted that, or shown that we're sharing 1.4 billion images per day. But why are we doing this? Why is picture sharing exploding across the world? Take a look at this image. Do any of you recognize what it is? It's known as one of the oldest records of man, over 40,000 years old. We've been sharing through images since the very beginning of time. There's a book called Silent Messages, written by a Dr. Albert Mehrabian, and he suggests that about 7% of our communication is verbal, and the other 93% is through non-verbal communication, including, the tone of voice, and even silence. So what happens if the real you could be connected into the digital world? What would it be like to be understood in every single part of your interaction with the digital world? Well, as human beings, we've been striving for better connection throughout our history, from ships to trains to planes, from telegraphs to telephones to tablets, from wires to wireless. It's something that has been transforming our connection. So this momentum for connection is unstoppable. Remember, 1.4 billion images per day and growing. So what's going to happen in the next wave? What is going to be the next thing that connects us all as human beings? Well, innovation always starts with a gap that needs bridging. It starts with a problem. And I believe the next gap that needs bridging is actually as simple as understanding. So let's think for a moment about how we're all understood within the digital world. Actually, the way that we're understood is by what we do, on what site, what time of day, what day of the week. All of these things come together in order to create an understanding of how we are currently understood. So it can be summarized like this. what we do, when we do it, and how long we do it for. But if you mine deeper, what sits at that deeper layer? What's there? What's there underneath all of that? Well, you'll see that underneath that layer is actually who we are and why we do what it is that we do. Now, we've discovered some amazingly interesting correlations, and here are just two really simple ones. People that buy flowers tend to be more conscientious. People that buy red wine tend to be more extrovert. And actually what we're seeing is a convergence of our digital self and our emotional self coming together within this world. This isn't just about shopping, though. And we're working with a group of people in the world that are known as the unbanked. These people, 2.5 billion people in the world, are unbanked. And one of the things that they have in common is that they can't get access to credit. And the crazy thing is that the way that consumer credit works is largely based on what it is that you've done before. So if you've got no history, what happens? You don't get access to it. So what we're using is big data analytics and psychometric analysis to bring together these two things. And we've proven a link. We've proven that people can actually be linked to who they are with what it is that they're going to do. And we're working in all of these countries at the moment with MasterCard and Experian. And our goal is to bring access to 30 million people within the next 3 years. And that is actually now happening. That's the power of the who of you. So together, we can create the most amazing understanding of each other and ourselves through bringing the who of you to the world. I'm so inspired by the potential richness of all of this. And McKinsey, the management consultancy company, have talked about some of the things that are going on. So, for instance, connected devices, personal data, is expected to be worth around $100 billion to industry. But what's really amazing is that it's actually predicted to be worth $700 billion to each of us. To all of us, that is. Certainly not each of us. Imagine what it would be like for us to be able to find a simpler journey through life. The Internet of Feelings is essentially a map. It's a layout of the possibilities of life. As we move through physical space, we are also moving through feeling space. This cartography of emotions is going to bring so many things. So imagine for a moment each and every one of you at the center. Imagine how much better search results would be if you, the real you, the authentic you, was right at the center of all of this. Well, the recommendation engine of you is going to be based just not on your actions. It is going to be based on who you are as well. Imagine how much different it's going to be. What could improve in your life as a result of this? What about your financial stability? How about the way that you learn and grow? How about the big decisions that you make in your life, your relationships, your careers? All of these things are beginning to change and will be possible. Now, there's a lot of other things going on as well. There's the Internet of Things, the fridge that's going to reorder its contents, the thermostat that knows whether you're in or out, and whether you're just about to arrive home. All of these things that can be described as the Internet of Things, but they're essentially the mechanics of our world. They don't include who we are as people. There is a gap, though, that is being bridged here with wearable devices. I'm sure that plenty of you have either heard of them or actually used them. Well, let's just start thinking about wearable devices and the idea of our feelings being able to be brought into these, our emotions, our intentions, our hopes, our fears. Imagine how much powerful all of that connectivity would become. So what we're going to see, actually, is a situation where objects that are around us might not just become smart as they are now, they even might become empathetic too. So when you think about it, geographic context worth 700 billion. Well, just imagine how much emotional context could be worth too. So who is it that owns it? Who is it that owns this digital self? Who owns us? Well, the reality of it is that we are owned largely by the companies that are giving us this information. Our mobile company, our store card company, our credit card company. And what are we getting in return? What we're going to find is that over time, we are going to get more control of this information. This is going to be hugely important. I believe that we're at a climactic moment in our digital history. And I think that before too long, we are going to see a situation where this ownership of this information is actually going to come much more towards us as individuals. And we will all be able to say, the internet is me. I want to take you on a little bit of journey now, just thinking about the future and coming back into the past, which is now. I believe that all of us will link together and actually realize that the internet is powered by one thing, our naivety. And the reason I say that is that here we are using services that we think are free. Free social networks, free search, free so many things. But the only reason it's free is because we don't understand the value of what it is that we are giving away for free. Take a look at this fantastic cartoon. Isn't it great? We have to pay nothing for the barn. Yeah, and we get free food too. If you're not paying for it, you're not the customer. You are the one that's being sold. The great news is we're waking up to this. We do actually understand the value, beginning to understand more the value of what it is that we're giving away for free. And this is all going to change when we end up having the decision to decide who gets access to this information. So what's really exciting is that by this information being shared, we will all have the opportunity to become the cartographers for the map of life. All this understanding, all of it is going to lead to a completely new sense of trust. And trust is essential for this to happen. There is an inevitability, I hope you'll all agree, that some of this change is going to occur. And just imagine what's going to happen as a result of the transformations with the who of you coming online. It's time for the real you to come to life online. And the tipping point starts with awareness. Your awareness, everyone's awareness that this really is happening. So let's just think about you and what this is going to mean for you in the future. Well, you're no longer going to be just the sum of your searches. You're no longer just going to be the content of the things that you've bought. You are so much more than this. I'd just like to reflect for a moment on the fact that all of us are incredibly complex, amazing beings, full of experiences, full of emotions, full of feelings. And for me, we are all connected by something so much bigger. So just to explain that, the bridge that is the gap to this understanding, I want to leave you with a story about my 5-year-old son and I. His name is Hero. And I sat with him and I said, Hero, who are you? And he said, I am Hero. And I said, well, if I changed your name, who would you be? And he said, I would be my heart. And I said, oh, that's amazing. Well, what lives inside your heart? And he said, love. So I said, Hero, who are you? And he said, I am love. Thank you.